You're listening to 8158 Stories of Sacrifice, where we honor the bravery of the first responders and the families who stand behind them. Real people, real stories, real heroes. This is 8158.
Welcome back to 8158 Stories of Sacrifice, where we honor the dedication, courage, and perseverance of first responders and their families. Today's guest has an incredible story of resilience and determination. Dalton McVey grew up surrounded by the firefighting community, inspired by his father, Dave McVey, who has served Station 4 for an impressive 24 years, and his uncle, Terry McVey, who served for 13 years. Following in their footsteps, Dalton is now proudly serving as a firefighter for 3 years. But Dalton's journey is far more than just carrying on the family legacy. At the age of 3, Dalton was born with a cyst, often referred to as a tumor, and faced discouragement throughout his childhood. He was told he couldn't play contact sports, but he refused to accept those limits. Through faith, perseverance, and an unshakable spirit, Dalton not only pursued his dreams, but exceeded them, becoming a race car driver and now a dedicated member of the fire department. Dalton's story is a testament to grit, faith, and the power of community service. It's one you won't want to miss. Let's dive into this inspiring conversation with Dalton McVey. Here's your host, Rico.
All right, so how's your day been going?
Good. How's yours?
It was a long one.
Definitely.
It was long.
I feel that.
All right, Dalton. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk about your family legacy. Growing up with your dad and your uncle in the fire department, what is the most important lesson you learned from watching them serve?
Well, so basically, just growing up in the family itself, like my dad been on since '01, about 24 years. Terry's been on, my dad's brother, by about 13, 14-ish years from 2013. My mom's older brother, he's a battalion chief down in Alabama, and he's taught me so much. He's definitely been a mentor to me. My mom's older brother, for sure. My dad's been there, been helping me through it as well, especially through the fire class. The two main people is definitely my mom's older brother and my dad. Both those guys has definitely helped me through so much gas and the fire stuff so far, and just as far as the lesson goes, it's just something that it definitely has taught you that grit is the number one key, and never give up. Dedication, for sure.
Sweet. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So your motivation to serve, you had mentioned always wanting to protect and serve the community. Was there a specific moment or event that solidified your decision to become a firefighter?
Just like the fundraiser events, the organized events that the station puts on, or the shop with the hero thing that happens at Walmart every year. But unfortunately, this year I didn't get to make it because I didn't see the invite in time before I made the thing to be at the parade last Saturday. So, but the thing is, it's everything that I've looked at to a T growing up, go to these organized events, like I said, parades, shop with the heroes, workshop stuff that you get to go and, the safety stuff you get to go talk to at the schools and stuff. It's literally, it puts smiles on kids' faces. It literally if you could change their perspective on how the kids think of the firefighters to the point where they're like, these guys are actually there to help us. We are actually there, make the kids actually look up to us, and not like this generation where they make their kids look down at everybody that is first responder. It's just not right.
Right. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, because, my line of work, I'm a full-time truck driver. And I always love putting a smile on the kid's face when they always do the fist pump. You know what I mean? They
Oh
blow
yeah,
the
oh
horn.
yeah.
That's pretty awesome. That is a pretty awesome thing. It always makes my day a whole lot better.
Oh yeah, definitely. And especially if the day's been long or not been a good day, it makes the day actually a little bit better.
Right, right. So your childhood challenges, facing medical challenges such as a young age, how did you stay motivated to keep pushing forward, or even when others had doubted you?
Okay, so the challenges, obviously since I've told you a little bit about it before, basically 3 years old, I was faced with a challenge where I was barely out in the world, and I was born with a cyst. Basically, barely had a chance at living at it as it was, and I went through 10 whole head surgeries as it was, and it was definitely been a lot of head surgeries. I definitely got the scars and bumps to prove it on my head for sure. Um, just the challenges has been unreal, but it's good that I have actually overcome them because it was obstacles that were in the road. There were some obstacles in the road that I didn't think I was gonna get past. Like being able to play sports. I thought I was actually gonna be I wouldn't been able to play sports or be the kid that I am now today because, as far as they say, I couldn't play basketball back then, but I kept pushing, and finally they cleared me because they found that I was okay enough to do it. And it was, it's challenges like that. Like I couldn't do certain contact sports. Like I wanted to play football for the longest time, couldn't do that. I wanted to play basketball, couldn't do it. But I do basketball. I was probably could have been an exception because it's contact sport, yes, but it's not as bad as it's not as contacty as football. And I also thought, get through that, and I wanted to race, which you can see behind me. There's the pictures.
Right.
And I tried and I tried and I tried, and we are here today as where I'm at. And it has been a long story for me. And like I said, I'm glad to say that the Lord was by my side every step of the way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm kind of a racing fan myself. As you can see on the wall, I got little
Oh
race
yeah.
cars that are still in the packages there. I grew up watching Dale Earnhardt Senior driving, so he was kind of like an awesome. The Intimidator was the guy.
My buddy's got his compact car decorated just like it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like his 50th anniversary car.
I got a 2001 Monte Carlo SS that looks just like it without all the decals, but it's the same color scheme.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't drive it very much, but you know,
Oh yeah.
I still
It's
love
pretty
that
cool
car.
though.
Yeah. So we talk about faith and resilience. You credit God for where you are today. Can you share the moment when your faith had played a significant role in helping you overcome adversity?
So okay, so adversity. So it's been like I said, it's been a long road, definitely a rough road, and like I said, there's times that I didn't think I was going to get where I was, and I've prayed and prayed, and even like I said, I'm a big Christian believer as it is, and it's here lately. It's been hard to try to go to church because of just how work's been and everything, and I try to keep up with the Bible. I've been praying to him here lately about getting my schoolwork done because it seemed like some days, you just don't have that adrenaline or that energy to do it, and I pray to him for strength and courage to get through it. And honestly, the last 2 days, because I prayed to him on last Friday about it because it was been a long day that day, and here I am Sunday and today, and I had all the energy in the world to do it.
Right.
So it's pretty cool how he works.
Yeah, Lord
Um,
works in mysterious ways. I tell you that.
And basically, with that being said, just the challenges that I've went through growing up and where I'm at now, it's definitely thanks to the Lord. Big thanks for sure.
Amen. Amen to that, man. From a firefighter's perspective, after 3 years on the job, uh, what's been the most rewarding part of being a firefighter, and what's been the most challenging of all that?
With me being in the fire class, it's literally been this. This is gonna be the sixth time I took that test, and this literally has been the hardest test of my life. Like no other test in school is like this, unless you're going to a really fancy college about something that's a big deal.
Mm,
Um, basically, that being said, is that was been my most challenging part is the test in itself and going through the academy of the fire school, trying to get through all that. Now, the rewarding thing is, being able to show up, help someone on their bad day, and basically, like, yeah, you're not going to make someone's bad day into a better day because, you could get there and it could be a bad outcome, but at least you were there to help try to make it better, you know. And all the appreciation that you get every call after you show up, their face just lightens up. It's just like, oh my goodness, thank you for coming. I'm so glad you're here. God bless you. Da, da, da. It's because we are there to help make their day better, even though sometimes it's impossible to make your day better if it's like a CPR in progress, etc., or something like that, and you don't end up bringing the person back. And yeah, that is not a good outcome, but they still thank you for coming because they really do appreciate you trying to bring them back. And it's the rewarding thing is just going to like these organized events, like I've said before, and being able to be there without, every other person supporting us, regardless if it's fundraisers, organized events, or just showing up and, to the events just to say hi, or, just show up and just and smile and everything else. And it's, it's rewarding in itself at the time, but there's some times of the job that it's not so rewarding, but it's a feeling that sticks with you though. That's definitely for sure.
right. I can imagine, it's exceptionally rewarding when somebody shows their appreciation towards you for, being there and being there to possibly help them to overcome their situation. I mean,
There's also one other thing that's challenging is the like I said before, on like the CPR calls and calls that don't have that bad outcome, the times that when you can't bring them back, that's definitely challenging too, because that will stick with you for sure.
yeah. So, do you think that those calls uh, affect you the most, or do they stay with you the most, as opposed to all of the rewarding ones where you are able to save their lives or bring them back from
Well,
death?
the bad outcome ones that actually stick with you, there's been a couple calls that's still on my mind, like it was yesterday, and it was 3 years ago when I went on that one. So it still sticks with you, but it's just a part of the job.
Right. So you don't. Do you take it personally, or do you just understand that not everybody can be saved at that moment, or how do you feel about that? How does that make you feel?
So been a couple calls that it's has affected me, that where I've actually had to go, like, yeah, I wasn't professionally talking to someone, but I actually went and talked to one of my family members, had sat down and talked with them about it, because it was, that's what I encourage a lot of firefighters to do, because PTSD is a real thing for sure. That the stuff will stick with you, and regardless on how tough you are, you won't be so tough after a few of those bad calls sticking with you, because it does not, it's just bad. It just, literally. Like one call, I close my eyes and I can still see it, but it's not as strong as it used to be. But I can still see it when I close my eyes. And it
Right.
was an accident we went on 3 years ago. So it's crazy.
I could imagine. Yeah, I see a lot of accidents on the road myself, and one time I'd seen one where they had put a blue tarp over a car, which I imagine that was a fatality. Um,
Yep, that would be what they would do too.
yeah, and it didn't look pretty, and I
No.
remember that to this day, and that was, I'd say, probably about 2.5 years ago, and that was in outside of Indiana.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh
I
yeah.
see a lot of accidents on the road myself, but seeing that they put a tarp over the car, it just solidified, and it's like that must have been a fatality. I didn't see it actually in the car, but I knew in my mind that that's probably what it was,
Yeah.
and it was pretty sad to see something like that.
Yeah.
All right, so we spoke about that you were earlier that you were a race car driving. So, how has your experience as a race car driver shaped your mindset or skills as a firefighter?
So that being said, there has been, you when I started racing, I wasn't driving very long before that. Like when I started back at 21. It was shortly after I got my license, probably a year or two after, and I didn't have very much quick reflexes back then. Like my reflexes were crap and stuff like that. And through racing career, I could actually gain the skills of having the faster reflexes, or the split decision making factors in the roadways and stuff like that to avoid crashes and stuff that happens, or like a deer jumping out front of you. You can make that second call, that second split call, whatever.
Right.
And basically, that being said, it also gave me able to handle a vehicle at fast paced motion, such as when you're going to a fire call and stuff. You have that split second decision
Hmm.
making where you could, it gives you that little skill in the back of the head that you can handle a vehicle at a high rate of speed if you have to. And that's awesome. But basically, just like the split decision making, all that stuff. I do the racing for fun, and I do the firefighting as a volunteer job because that is for the community and it helps the community and it makes kids smile. And that's one of the top tires there.
Right. Now, one thing that I was thinking about was, do you have like that intuition, like when you're driving? Like what truckers have is, in my 20 years of driving, is I can tell when somebody's going to do something. Like, especially if somebody's going to pull out in front of you, you just know what they're going to do. And that pretty much dictates how I'm going to react. Like if I know somebody's going to pull out in front of me, I'm going to automatically slow down. Do you have that kind of a trucker's intuition?
So, as far as that being said, especially being in the wrecker, because like being in the wrecker, being in the fire trucks, even in my own vehicle, I could, if I see a car that's went past that stop sign, it kind of gives all the warning signs that he's about ready to pull out. Yeah, I'll have that intuition, be like, okay, he's about to do this, so that I'm going to start slowing down. There's times that I've actually been on the road and have that intuition kind of hit me, and it would like hit me with something's going to happen from here to my point of my location, and it wasn't because of me going to have something happen to me. It was because there was something like a road crash that was going to happen ahead of me, and it's it's cool that sometimes I get that intuition and that I can be able to prepare for it, but sometimes it gets you by surprise, and
Right.
it's just something that it's or just like I said, it's pretty cool how that works. The intuition, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely helped me quite a bit. uh, it's definitely saved me from a lot of heartache and accidents and just being in bad situations. Also, driving safely helped.
Right, right.
Um, so the impact of serving. How has being on the fire department affected your relationship with your family, particularly your dad and your uncle, who've also walked this path?
So the really impacts that it has happened was, like we have like birthday parties for my siblings, or when I was growing up we had birthday parties, and my dad would do the same thing at the times. Was, if we're at a party at the station, also we get called out, you know I'll be like, yep, see, I gotta go, and then you get going to the call and you come back and everybody's left and the tables are put up and the party's over. And it's been one of them things where it's like, one thing that a lot of people would tell their families, and we've explained this to a lot of people about us volunteer firefighters, is regardless if we're on a Thanksgiving dinner, regular dinner, breakfast, if we get called, we make that sacrifice to leave our families to go do the fire calls and stuff. And with that being said, it's not been a much of an impact on dad per se, besides him getting there on the scene, and not only him and his brother there, but his own son's on the scene too. And besides that, and like I said, my uncle, my mom's older brother, has been a big mentor to me as well. And he lives in Alabama, but if I ever have any questions, I always just call my Uncle Dan and be like, hey, Uncle Dan, I got this question. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll help you out. No worries. And he's also a preacher down there, which is pretty cool. So,
Right. So you actually work alongside your dad?
yep, we're on the same station.
Oh wow, how's that working out? Is that pretty
Pretty
awesome?
cool, actually. Pretty good, honestly. Besides, with me not being fully certified, I still out there on the outside of by the trucks, and I run the equipment over to them and whatever. And once I get certified, I think there's a thing out there that might, I don't I don't know if we could be in the same like fire together because we're family and everything. So I don't know how that works, but I know that it's definitely gonna be stressful when you have, like, even when my dad goes in a fire, it's like, okay, you gotta make it out of there when you can, don't get hurt and stuff. It's gonna be that stress on there, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty fair. I mean, just depends on the current situation, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems pretty awesome that you're able to work alongside your father and follow in his footsteps. I mean, that's got to feel good in a sense, I guess.
Definitely, it's been something I've looked up to for a long time, and then being able to finally do it is definitely something that is pretty cool doing. It's definitely something that's been like hard. It definitely gives you that prime example of hard work is the key, and hard work will pay off in the end for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, sacrificing the community. What does the concept of sacrifice mean to you as both a firefighter and also somebody who has faced personal challenges growing up?
So sacrifices to me will mean that you leave your family at home, or you leave your family and you have to go to a call and you have to sacrifice that, or you sacrifice your life to go into a burning building to save someone's on a bad day, etc. And it's in this line of work, it's hard to understand and get your mind wrapped around that when you go in that fire, it could be your last time.
Hmm.
But it's something that you've taken understanding when you get on this job, because in this fire academy, it has been taught several times that you go on a fire call and and you go on to fight the fire, it could be your last time fighting that fire. And that's the sacrifice that we're willing to make.
Right. And that is a huge sacrifice because, you're not only risking your life for other people, but you're also risking the the opportunities that you could have with your family, and the memories that you can build with them in the future. I mean, it's amazing that you guys are willing to give up all these things for people you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that means a lot to us, as a family. And it also means a lot to a lot of other people. I have friends that were in the wildlands firefighting, which I had talked to just recently, and it was just amazing to see the tenacity that they had to do such a hard job, to see the things and to hear about the things that they had gone through.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing, and I definitely appreciate what you do. I really do. I know, my dad was a firefighter also. He was a rural firefighter in Clear Lake, California,
Oh, gotcha.
and he got hurt on the job and couldn't do it anymore. But I never really got the chance to see that part of him growing up as a kid because he got hurt early on. I mean, he's still around. He's still alive, so that's the good part.
Yeah, that's really a good part. True. Yeah, for sure.
So, do you have any inspiration for others? What messages do you hope to share with others, like especially those facing medical or physical challenges, who dream of serving the community?
So coming from, one guy that's been through a lot growing up, definitely perseverance is one key, and being dedicated and having that grit and do not give up is definitely one thing I will put out to say is whatever you face, there is always obstacles you could overcome, and being able to overcome the obstacles to get to where you want to be is definitely one thing, and that's grit and dedication. And one thing I cannot push enough is do not ever give up, because you give up, you'll never get there. And it's like you gotta not give up and keep pushing through, because I know times are tough, times are hard. I understand that because I've been through it, and you definitely do not want to give up. Have that grit and that dedication for sure.
Mm. Well, I can definitely tell that and see that you have a lot of intestinal fortitude. I mean, you've overcome quite a bit of challenges just to get where you are, and that in itself, you know, is amazing. That should be an inspiration to a lot of people who face challenges because, I mean, it should just tell people that you can't give up. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep moving forward. But my hat's off to you for that, my friend. Now, what legacy and future? We talked about something specifically before, but I'm going to ask, looking forward, how do you see yourself continuing to serve your community, and what do you hope your legacy will be?
So that being said, once I get fully certified, either if I could get into being a full time firefighter, or get into just, I get that police part of it. If I could get into it, it just depends on how that works. That's just how I would try. But even if I stick with volunteer and I go with a trucking job that I've wanted, it's like my future is basically I really want to get in a police officer thing. So that being said, it's just a thing that it's just how it goes. I'm definitely trying to push to become a police officer because that's been a dream of mine for a long time.
Right. Have you decided what kind of department? Is it city, uh, county, or state, or
A state trooper motor carrier DOT is what I'm trying to become. The
you-
MSP motor carrier division.
yeah, that's pretty honorable. Even though I'm a truck driver and a lot of truck drivers don't like DOT, me
Oh yeah,
personally, I respect them because they keep our roads safe. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of stupid drivers out there. I've seen a lot of things happen that could have been prevented, and without DOT, it could be a lot worse. A lot worse.
oh yeah. It definitely will be, yeah, for sure. Because like you can have an unsafe truck on the road, and there ain't nobody out to like inspect that. So
Right.
it's definitely a big part.
Yeah, we definitely can use a lot more of that. You know, and I don't like I've been pulled over by DOT many times. In my career to do inspections and stuff. And if there's something wrong with the vehicle, I totally understand because it's our responsibility to make sure that those vehicles are properly uh, uh, capable of going down the road safely. And if
Hmm.
we don't do that, people's lives are at stake because we have other people's lives in our hands. You're running an 80,000-pound vehicle down the road. And if one of your tires comes off, that's a lot of weight and a lot of inertia and speed that will fly into somebody's car and just totally destroy it and kill everybody inside. Just one tire. That's scary.
Right, right.
Driving a
It
truck is
definitely is because, like I said, when you guys are going probably 55, 60 mile an hour, that's probably 4 or 5 times the amount of force, and that pretty much makes a way bigger impact. And it's definitely a big role on the highway and all that safety.
right, right, definitely. I mean, it's even being a truck driver. My fiance, she always worries that she won't see me again because it is it's not quite as dangerous as being a law enforcement officer or being a firefighter or anything like that. But in a sense, it's dangerous because you have careless drivers who don't care about what's going on around them. They're more worried about what's on their phones. They're more worried about, getting to their destination really fast. Or they cut you off, or they slam on their brakes in front of you.
Or they break, yeah, or they brake check you. Yeah, it's crazy out
You
there.
know, for, for whatever reason. I mean, big trucks don't stop on a dime, and you know that from experience because I
Right.
imagine
Yeah.
fire trucks
Exactly.
will not stop
Especially
on a
when
dime.
loaded.
Yeah, and even when they're empty, I mean, they just slide. They'll keep going.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty crazy out there with the experiences that I've had. It's it's just unreal. I can't believe. I mean, technology is great, but it's also bad too because people don't know how to use it properly.
Right. Yeah.
When you're going down the road and you see somebody on their phone doing this while they're doing 80 miles an hour driving past you. Yeah. Like, all I want to do is just get home safely. And they're doing this.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
But do you have anything else you want to add to um, this meeting or this podcast or
For one, just like I said, before, I don't know if I said this before, but basically, that being said, is there has been a lot of hate against the volunteer stations, and it's literally, in my opinion, and it's being ungrateful for people that show up on your bad days to try to help make it better.
Yeah. We would all hope that most people would have a lot more gratitude towards law enforcement and our first responders. And yeah, granted, seeing a police officer or a state trooper or anybody behind you uh, is not what you want to see, but they are the first ones you want to see when you need help.
Crazy how people look at them nowadays. It's like everybody's out against law enforcement. Everybody's out this, and I see all the time on TikTok. I see there's people always challenging these cops. The reason why they're pulling them over. I get there is sometimes there is a unlawful thing. I get it, but not all cops are out there to just ruin your day. They're out there to do their job. And
Right.
people actually need to actually put the effort in towards of what the cop's asking. They're there to do a job just like you're there to be on with your day. But if you're doing something bad, their job is to stop you and to, you know, check your credentials and make sure you're legal and everything else. And I'm not gonna lie, for the little bit of time I've known uh, Bill Butler, the little times I've known him, I've literally wanted to. I was looking up to him, and that's one of the things that kind of transpired me into trying to become a cop, is because of, in well, into his memorial, yes, but not only that, is just the way that he made an impact on everybody, and that is one of the biggest inspirations too.
Right. Yeah, he definitely made a huge impact. I always looked up to him growing up as a kid, and I didn't get to hang out with him as much as I would have wanted to because we lived in two different states, so we kind of
Right.
grew up apart. But even still, we were able to hang out as we got older and do family dinners and all that stuff, and Thanksgiving, Christmases, you know,
Oh yeah.
which and going fishing with my uncle Bill and Billy. That was great. We're going out in the boat, and I mean, him and I didn't really have a lot of conversation, but just by being around him, it still just kind of left me at ease. Like everything's gonna be okay. You know what I mean?
Right. Definitely. And then the other thing is, this is one of my depart messages that I want to make just before we enter, is I want to tell everybody, do not give up. Keep going on your career and keep going, because like I said, even the person that has been, even the, like, let's just say, even the president, even the anybody that's been like a fire chief or anything, police officer, they always had a challenge that they had to overcome, challenges leading up to it. There was never easy getting up there, and I want to tell you guys, do not give up. You guys could do this.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. Never give up. Well, I definitely appreciate you being on this podcast, man. It really means a lot, and I'm glad you had the opportunity to meet my cousin, and I'm glad that he had an impact on you. He really meant a lot to us, and it was definitely a hard loss for us. But with that happening, this podcast came about, and obviously, this is my first time doing a podcast. And this is actually me stepping outside of my comfort zone because this is not something I would normally do.
Right.
But in his honor, I am willing to step outside and do this for him. And not
Sure.
just for him, but for all first responders,
Oh
because
yeah,
all of
definitely.
you deserve the recognition, you know, that you deserve because you guys put yourselves out there and ask for nothing in return.
Right. And that's one thing that I don't think a lot of people know, that we go out there for, like, we don't ask for anything in return, and people think that we're just in it for the money, and it's very, very, like, infuriates me kind of, because it's like, we're not in it for the money. Like, that's not what we're in it for.
Right. You're in it to help people, save lives,
Right.
serve your community.
Right.
That is a challenge in itself, especially when you're facing adversities and stuff like that.
Definitely. It's definitely a sacrifice, they say, for sure.
That is a sacrifice in itself. Definitely. Well, I definitely appreciate you being on this podcast, man. It means a lot, and
Thank
hopefully
you
I
for
get.
having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're very welcome. It's been an honor to speak with you, and I will be keeping in touch with you. We may do a follow up just to kind of keep in contact with you and see where you're at, and hopefully
Okay.
you make those dreams come true. I want to see that bubblegum machine on your car.
Oh yeah, you got it.
Go Michigan State Police.
Right.
All right, buddy.
We're definitely gonna try to make it happen for sure.
Definitely, definitely, and we'll be praying for you, man. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you, man. It means a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome. All righty. You have a good night. God bless you, and enjoy your family during the holiday season.
Hey, thank you. God bless you too, man. Take care.
You're welcome. Thank you. Good night. Thank you for joining us on 8158 Stories of Sacrifice. Every story we share is a tribute to the courage and resilience of first responders and their families. If this episode has impacted, encouraged, or inspired you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who supports first responders. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Truth Social at 8158 Podcast for updates. Remember to visit our website, www.8158podcast.com. For questions, collaborations, or to share your story, our email address is contactus@8158podcast.com. Until next time, let's continue to honor their legacies and remember their sacrifices that protect us all. This is Rico signing on and honoring 8158.